Hey there! Welcome to Sparks Online Viewing. I hope you're doing well. My name is Chris Reed. They call me Captain Selfie. I founded Sparks over 8 years ago. I'm a home improvement fanatic and an internet and social media marketing geek. And if you really get to know me, you're going to find that I'm a huge Star Wars geek as well. So that's a little bit about me. If you didn't know it, I got married right before the lockdown. Who would have thought that we would have a pandemic that would cause quarantining and I would get married 2 weeks? Talk about the best honeymoon ever. We've been married for 24 weeks. Hope is the love of my life, and I'm super excited that we're going to shack up together. That's right. It's legal in the state of Indiana. We checked first. We're moving on the 22nd. I'm going to move all my stuff into her place, and I could use some help. If you want to be my friend and come help move, I'm hoping for 20, 25, 30 people that are going to show up. It's going to make things go so much faster. And the best part is I'm paying you in Ale Emporium pizza and wings and beer. I mean, Hermanaki is going to pay the moving bill. No, I'm just kidding. We got a truck and a trailer and all kinds of stuff. If you want, you can check it out on Facebook. There's an event for that. We'd love to have you join us. But first, let's talk about Sparks. The core values of Sparks are right here. And almost 8 years ago when we started this, there wasn't a TED-like event in Indianapolis. And TED stands for Technology, Education, and Design, TED. It's a national, global phenomenon now in which like literally thousands of talks are given all over the place in these conferences. And it was that idea in mind is what made me start Sparks. When I would watch these talks online and then share them through social media, what I was missing was watching them with other people. And guess what? I'm kind of missing watching them with other people, right? But we wanted to create a tribe of people that were interested in continuous learning. I say to myself all the time, what got me to where I am today might necessarily get me to where I want to be. And it's this idea that you might have this life hack or this best practices that if I could just learn that, I would get better that much faster. We want to inspire each other and focus on giving back because we need relationships in this life to get through it. And my hope with Sparks is that we would have something interesting to talk about and create a rich emotional connection with each other that would help us in which to grow. And that's really what Sparks is all about. So those are our core values, getting the most out of a Sparks event. Well, it's a little different with the online. The mingle part is step one. Hopefully you're going to be able to connect with some people that have watched this video if you'd like. But the be inspired part, step two, is the show that you're watching right now. Usually about 35 or 40 minutes long. And then afterwards, the share portion is where we just talk after the show about what we heard from these speakers tonight and what we got out of it. So I'm hopeful that you're going to post some feedback in the comments below this video so we can hear which talk did you like the best. What are you walking away with? What golden nugget did you receive this evening? Because I'd like to learn and I'd like to hear that. So tonight, our theme is crime. And we'll hear a dong 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 or that sound right from oh gosh, what's the show? Anyways, when I think about crime, that's what I think about is Law and Order, right? SVU. There has been a crime committed, and that's an interesting theme for a networking group, right? And I hope you'll catch on with these speakers tonight and what they talk about, but I want to talk about crime. Crime is a noun, an action or admission that constituted an offense that may be prosecuted by the state and punishable by law. Shoplifting was a serious crime. When you think about crime, it's like something was stolen, right? Or someone was murdered or whatever. Well, maybe you are like me. 2020 came along with wonderful possibilities. You had plans, you had goals, you had things that you wanted to accomplish. You had a summer planned of a mega ticket out at Ruoff for all those concerts, right? You had a day at the beach planned with your friends, maybe some kind of a getaway at a swamp bar somewhere. Maybe you had a backyard barbecue or two planned for all your friends. And then the coronavirus hit, and everything was suddenly off the table. Everything that I had planned was suddenly gone. And I had to consider my personal experience. And I'm talking about when it comes down to mental health, this idea about what we're dealing with right now. You've heard of the 5 stages of grief, which is really the 5 stages of change. Maybe over this coronavirus, you've gone through anger and bargaining and depression, like a lot of us have. Maybe you have gotten completely sick and tired of wearing a mask. I have. And I get it. I'm not here to debate it. I'm not trying to talk about why we should or why we shouldn't. Look, I want to do the next best thing for everyone because I love everyone. But man, do you not miss basketball? When I thought about a spring without the NCAA Final Four, I've never thought about that in my whole life. And now we've got this new vision of the NBA that looks like a bunch of guys on a sound stage. And there's no crowd, or there's these Zoom to meeting people in the background. Just, it's weird, right? And baseball, oh my goodness, baseball with these cutouts in the background is driving me crazy. Did you see the one with Weekend and Bernie's behind the guy behind the batter when he was lining up? That makes me laugh, right? But it's abnormal. The pumped in crowd feeling of everything, you know, that kind of a thing. Movies, man, I'm telling you what, I miss movies. I am a movie nut, and there hasn't been a new release in like 4 months. And I'm getting some stuff off of Netflix, but it's just not the same as getting the popcorn and sitting there and watching it. So there's been a crime. There's been a theft for a lot of us. And maybe you're like me, and I've only had friends and friends of friends, but have paid the ultimate price as a result of this. And I know that this is serious, but it's the idea of that. It's the grieving that needs to go on. And each of us get to have our own experience as we process this change. And I'm saying it with this visual because it's a loss. When you have something stolen, but the theft can be a best friend. The theft could be your grandmother. Lord knows mine are already gone, but I know my friends that have lost their grandparents due to this situation that we find ourselves in. But I want to get past that from a standpoint of the darkness of this, because we're all processing our own grief. We all having our own experience. And then you think about focusing. We're the only one of God's creatures that can actually focus their intention and attention. And there's an important differentiator there, and I don't have time to go into that because this is a time talk. But we get to focus what we're thinking about every day. You get to decide every time when you get up in the morning what's important to you, what you're going to get done today, what time you've got to be there, blah, blah, blah. And I know if you know me, you're thinking squirrel. That's why I put that visual up there, because it's hard for me to focus as well. And it certainly is that way these days, right? But we do. And so you get to make a choice every day as to how you're going to see things. And personally, I have spent time processing my grief over this situation. And once I did, what I realized was I got to start looking at opportunities, the new beginnings that came out of this. I would have never met my wife in the same, or we wouldn't have had the same relationship we did as a result of COVID, because we spent so much time in quarantine together that it helped us to connect. What I really want to get at here is that you got to focus on the little things. When stuff gets dark and it gets questionable out there, you have to focus on the next right thing. You've got to start looking at what you have and the things that you're grateful for. And you've got to stay focused on those things, because those are the things that you have, and no one can take those things away from you. And I hope that you're like me. We cannot wait for live events. We cannot wait for the theft to be replaced with new opportunities, new hopes, and new beginnings. So that's been my Sparks Talk. Thanks, guys. Now, let's push on. Our first speaker, sorry. Chris screws up in front of the camera all the time. Social media support. If you're watching this right now, can you just share this? Can you push the button down below the viewer and hit share, and share this on your social media? And when you do, type a couple words like, hey, watch this with me. I'm checking this out. Check out Sparks too. You're going to help us so much get the word out about Sparks, because people that you know have never heard about Sparks, and the only way they're ever going to hear about it is if you tell them. So use your social media out there to help us, okay? What's up next? That was wild. Okay, our first speaker tonight is Samantha McDermott. Samantha is a senior administrative assistant at a small business. She has a beautiful family, including 2 children, Charlotte and Ethan, and her husband, Nathaniel. She was a prison wife for 3.5 years. She tirelessly worked for her husband's release every single time. She loves music, podcasts, with Swindle being her favorite. She's a huge fan of movies. She loves spending time with her family and cooking for them. So let's all check out her Sparks Talk.
So I'm going to tell you a story about prison wives. If you'd asked me before, earlier on in my life, what I thought of prison wives, I probably would have told you a lot of negative things, that it's women who are desperate, women who do not have high enough self-esteem to really want someone who's home. They are manipulated by the worst of our society. I would have told you all of those things. And I probably wouldn't have been nice about it, to be quite frank. But as you probably have figured out by now, things have changed for me in 2014. Memorial Day weekend, I was on Tinder, which is a dating app, and I met my husband now, Nathan. We texted for about 2 days nonstop. We talked. We were pretty much inseparable before we met. And by the time that we went up to have our first date, which was, I believe, the Tuesday after Memorial Day weekend, I went to pick him up in Lebanon at St. Joseph's Church on Main Street. And I drove around the block twice. I saw him. He was there. He was 6'9" and very covered in tattoos. He's in fact 73% covered in tattoos. And he's got this big goofy smile. You see him and he's like a big teddy bear. He's very intoxicating. You get close to him and there's nonstop giggling and nonstop laughing. We were just taken with each other. It just happened. And I knew before I met him that he was a felon, but he had assured me that it was in the past. He wasn't wrong. The original case was in 2009. So by 2014, you would think that would be over. Nathan was still on probation. In 2014, in about September, we were already living together. And he got a warrant for a violation of probation for failing a urinalysis. It's very common and it happens with people that have addiction problems. You tend to relapse. It's not uncommon. It's not anything weird, and it really shouldn't be criminalized if we're being honest about it. But either way, Nathan stayed at my house for about, he got the warrant in September. He stayed in there for 4 months, I guess that would have been. And by January, I was pregnant with our daughter. And of course he was thrilled. He was very excited to be a father. I, on the other hand, was terrified because I realized that he had a warrant and I realized that this was serious. This wasn't, someone else's story. This isn't a Lifetime movie. This was my actual life. And I had to make actual decisions about a child and raising a child and potentially being without a partner with that child. Before this experience, I thought that the criminal justice system was set up to arrest bad guys and keep them out of our society. I was certain that we had the best system in the world. I never thought that any of that was untrue until I actually experienced it. And when I experienced it, I realized that the system is really a dumpster fire. It really is. It's not set up to rehabilitate anyone. It's not set up to protect anyone. And frankly, it just criminalizes poverty and addiction, which is a problem when you think about how many people we incarcerate in this country. And just for the record, we do incarcerate at the highest rate of any country in the world, not developed country, any country. So I learned that justice is for sale and that you will definitely not be able to procure your freedom without a lot of money. Public defenders are not really set up to assist. They have too many cases, they are overworked, they are underpaid, and they are not able to give adequate legal advice. So when you're guaranteed a lawyer, that's not really the case. You're guaranteed someone who maybe has 3 minutes for you. I would say that if you are someone who knows someone who is dealing with a loved one being incarcerated, women in this country, that's about 1 in 10, so 10% of the women that you know likely have someone incarcerated at this very moment. Just be there for them. Make sure that you let them know that while you don't understand how hard it is, you still want to stand by them. One of the hardest parts about that was having everyone abandon me and leave me with my children and just by myself to sort of figure it out. It's very hard to navigate that. I'm a very impatient person, so waiting on the love of my life for years on end was not exactly part of the plan. I would say that just being there and being good to those people, because that experience is very taxing, it's very expensive, and it's hard. It is hard. So that would be the story I'd like to tell you, and thank you for your time.
Wow. There's a story, right? I can't imagine. And I'm so glad that she told us that story. What do you think? That's what I'm interested in. Make your comments below so we can check them out. Now we're going to talk about our production sponsors. They make it possible for Sparks to happen each and every month. So let me just run through these real quick. Address 2 is our email marketing partner. Small business is about relationships and not only customers. You have prospects, leads, partners, and more. Address 2 is a simple CRM that helps your small business generate new relationships, but build those relationships and track those relationships that matter the most. Sorry, guys. Our video production sponsor is Your Dream Filmworks. Through filming events, promotions, and restoring your old home movies, Your Dream Filmworks has told many unique stories since 2011. They make it possible for your memories to last forever. Just press play. Again, we want to thank John Joachim and his team for making these videos possible for you to watch them over and over again. Inspire Media is our website sponsor. John Wooten and his team have been supporting Sparks website for the last 7 years. His knowledge of web development spans for over a decade. From websites to custom web applications, John and his team can help you with all of your website needs. Last but not least is Indy's IT department, our technical production sponsor. Daniel Curry and his team help by being your outsourced IT department. If you have a company with 1 to 30 computers like I do, you're gonna need to talk to Daniel because he's a great guy. If you have a chance to do business with any of these gentlemen, these folks, it's a great opportunity. Please let them know you are a Sparks fan. With that said, we are on to our third speaker. We're on to our second speaker. Our second speaker tonight is James Porter. James is committed to providing quality legal representation for his clients. James has been practicing law since 2008 after graduating with honors from the Indiana University McKinney School of Law. He began his legal career as Deputy Attorney General with the Office of the Indiana Attorney General, representing the state in criminal appeals. James is a partner with the law firm Epstein, Cohen, Seif & Porter, where he has represented clients since 2011. His practice areas include personal injury, workman's compensation, social security, disability, criminal defense, and expungements. Let's all check out James's Sparks Talk.
I'm here to talk to you about expunging criminal records. If you are arrested, you have a criminal record. If you are charged with a crime, you have a criminal record. If you are convicted of any crime, you certainly have a criminal record. These records are public, anyone can find them, and they do not go away. My knowledge of expungements is limited to the laws in Indiana. This is an area of the law that is state-specific, so each state has the authority to decide whether to allow expungements and determine what an expungement means. Under Indiana's expungement law, nothing is actually expunged, at least according to the definition of expungement, which is to strike out, obliterate, or mark for deletion. None of these things occur with an expungement order in Indiana. So, what does an expungement do in our state? We have a three-tiered approach to expunging criminal records. The first tier is for cases that did not result in a conviction. So arrests where no criminal charges were filed, cases where charges were filed but later dismissed, and cases that went all the way through trial and the defendant was found not guilty. An expungement in this tier requires the records to be sealed from public access, and the arresting agency is required to remove their records. The second tier is for convictions of misdemeanors and Class D felony or Level 6 felonies. For example, operating a vehicle while intoxicated, theft, or drug possession. An expungement in this tier requires the records to be sealed from public access. The records are not destroyed, though. They're still there, but the general public doesn't have permission to see them, and theoretically, the cases should not come up on a background check. However, a prosecuting attorney can still access the records if authorized by the court. The FBI can for purposes of criminal history, as well as the National CDL Information System. The third tier is for cases that result in a conviction of less serious felonies, such as fraud, check deception, burglary, and dealing in narcotics. In this tier, an expungement requires the records to be, and I quote, clearly and visibly marked or identified as being expunged. But the records are still public, meaning that the general public can view the records and find these cases. The third tier also allows for the expungement of the most serious types of cases eligible, which are felonies that resulted in serious bodily injury. However, a petition to expunge one of these offenses can only be filed with the permission of the county prosecutor. There are significant benefits to an expungement regardless of what the offense is. Expungements restore constitutional rights, including the right to vote and to possess a firearm. An expungement prevents an employer from considering a criminal record and determining whether to hire someone. So, if an employer asks, "Have you ever been convicted of a crime?" someone with an expunged criminal record can answer no to that question. Also, anyone with an expunged criminal offense is to be treated as if the conviction had never occurred, so they can't be discriminated against. This is very important for obtaining professional licenses and housing. I should mention that not all crimes are eligible for expungement. Crimes that resulted in death, sex offenses, and persons convicted of official misconduct are not eligible for expungement. There are requirements to determine eligibility. An expungement petition can only be filed after a time period specified for each tier or with the consent of the county prosecutor. Also, all fines, fees, court costs, and any restitution imposed in the criminal matter must be paid. Expungements serve a very important purpose. If we want to stop recidivism, we have to allow people to fully rejoin society without the constraints of the criminal record and allow them to gain employment. Thank you for listening.
Wow. Man, I never heard of such a thing, and I got to learn a lot right there. I'm curious, what did you learn about that? I'm interested in reading the comments below. Let us know what you thought of James's talk. Now I want to speak about our sponsors, and my company, Creed Improvements, is the presenting sponsor of Sparks. Since 2009, we've done home repairs, home remodeling, handyman services. But instead of just talking about it, I thought I'd show you some stuff. This is a pergola kind of privacy screen that we put up for a couple. I really love the way it turned out. This is a deck that we did a couple of months ago, just a little deck, but the benches really brought out an immediate seating area for the client. Here's one that I really loved. This deck was about to fall apart, and we call it deck rehab. It really did an incredible job for this particular project, and we built the fire pit as well. As you notice, it's flaming up there. Here's another one that we did. Talk about a transformation of this backyard. Almost 600 square feet of usable outdoor entertainment space, along with a fire pit. It was really cool. The angle bench seats are really fun to do. Here's a garage organization project that I did for my wife. It's a lot of fun to make her happy, and this organization really took the garage to a brand new level. And here's a composite deck rehab that we just finished last week. A lot of interesting projects. We love to be creative. I'm hoping to build a bowling alley in this gal's backyard real soon. So that's what we do at Creative Improvements. If we can talk with you about your next project, please give us a text or call at 626-1177. Our gold sponsor is Don't Drive Naked Vehicle Graphics. John Wiley and his team are at the north and south side locations in Westfield and in Beech Grove. They want to wrap your ride, ensure that you don't drive naked. Fleet graphics, wraps, color changes. Maybe you just need lettering to let people know who you are and that you're out there doing that. But again, let me show you some of his work. Have you seen my car? I mean, this is the way it used to look until I got married to Hope, and now her face is on the side of that car, and you might actually meet my wife because you think I'm driving it and she's driving it now. But it's been some interesting conversations that people are having when they're meeting my friends out at a gas station somewhere. I highly recommend it. You can check out some additional products that he's done for some additional brands. Really cool stuff. John Wiley's got a great heart in order to help people, and we're thankful for his sponsorship of Sparks. When you saw the 9/11 tribute trailer come through Indianapolis about 7 or 8 years ago, John and his team wrapped that whole rig, and it just really is amazing to see the heart that this guy has to help people. So check out Don't Drive Naked Vehicle Graphics, because you shouldn't drive naked. Next up is the Hamilton County Business Magazine. It's published every other month and delivered to every member of all 6 Hamilton County Chambers of Commerce. Please contact Mike Corbett for advertising information. Next up is Borshoff Consulting. Sherry Borshoff is Indiana's tax expert. Sherry takes pride in helping business owners succeed and grow. With over 3 decades of experience, business owners want to hire Borshoff Consulting to manage the unavoidable day-to-day requirements of bookkeeping, payroll, and taxes, so they have more time to focus on growing and enhancing their business. Please give Sherry and her team a call today. Boy, My Car Doc, our silver sponsor, specializes in taking care of your car, from oil changes, brakes, tune-ups, and more. Since 2004, John Cannon and his team have been helping families just like yours keep their cars on the road. They're committed to great service and always promise to shoot straight. Please check them out for all your car repair needs. And with that said, I want to just say one more time how unbelievably sad I am to see Redemption Ale Works close with so many other restaurants. But the guys at Redemption Ale Works took care of us for 2.5 of the 8 years that we've been doing Sparks, and we were really sad to see them go. I just wanted to mention it one more time, how grateful we were of everything that they did for us at Sparks over the years. With that said, we are on to our headliner. Tonight our headliner is Aaron Lindauer. Aaron has owned Transformational Fitness and Wellness, a small group training facility just north of downtown Indianapolis, for over a decade. And they have transformed over 5,000 lives, not only in Indianapolis, but across the United States. Aaron, along with her husband, Tony, are 2-time best-selling authors and have been in numerous publications sharing their expertise in the area of fitness and wellness. They have also presented on the national and international stages, educating audiences on health, wellness, and motivational strategies. You may have seen them in the IBJ, the Indianapolis Star, the Indianapolis Women's Magazine, RTV6, and Fox 59. Let's all check out Erin's Sparks Talk.
I want you to imagine your home. So for a second here, close your eyes. Visualize your home, your safe haven, where you spend every birthday, every anniversary, Christmas, Thanksgiving dinners. It's that place you get to relax and just be yourself. Now, open your eyes. Feel that warm feeling? It's that feeling you get when you know you're in a safe place, a place you call home. Now, I want you to imagine a young couple. They started a business, they've started a life here in Indianapolis, and they open a business. They open a business changing people's lives. They work their tails off. They start to have a family and have kids. And they decided to build their dream home. After sacrificing, after spending all the time and energy developing their employees, they decide to finally do something for themselves, and that was build their dream home. Good feelings, right? This is good stuff. They went on to pick out every fixture. They picked out where every wall was gonna go, even where that light socket was gonna go, that holds the spot for your Christmas tree. It's good stuff. It's the American dream. It's everything you work your tail off for. Now, picture this. This young couple has finally moved in. Breathe, right? After building that home, you get in, you get to be yourself. 42 days in, that couple was laying in their master bedroom, and the walls in their home were weeping. Okay, we can handle this, right? We'll just call the builder. We know what we gotta do. So they go on to call the builder, and they forgot along the journey how difficult the build process was. Unfilled promises, unkept timelines. It took triple the amount of time it should have ever have taken to get in their home. But it's the builder, he'll fix it, right? After going through the steps and we're not quite sure and the head scratching and I don't really know what's going on, the couple decides to call some trusted friends and say, hey, do you know a roofer? We need to get someone to come in, they said. They talk to this trusted friend, and this friend says, hey, you don't need a roofer, you need a home inspector. The couple goes on to hire this inspector. This inspector comes in and realizes that there is more than they even realize going on with this home. The inspector goes through the home over multiple days. They hire structural engineers to confirm findings. And that home inspector slapped a 253-page report of issues with their brand new home. They uncovered structural issues. They uncovered carbon monoxide potential, electrical issues, wrong voltage going into the circuit breaker. They uncover HVAC issues where they actually compromise the structure by cutting the I-beams to get the ductwork in. The list goes on. In 42 days, this couple's dream home was crushed. They went on to hire an attorney. An attorney first laughed at him and said, oh, the builder in Indiana, they get a year. They get a year to go fix that home. Okay, well, let's go through the process of trying to figure out what this is gonna take. The couple decides to have general contractors come in. They brought 3 of them in. First one said, hey, this is gonna cost you over $200 plus to fix what's going on. Another one said, I don't even know where to begin. The other one said, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Well, okay, What do we do now? The couple goes on to figure out what is it going to take to make their dream home right. And it kept coming back that there's just no way to salvage this house. They decided to pull in the city because we had city inspections, right? City inspections had helped the whole process. The couple went on to learn that there was 1 out of 10 inspections done on their home. Well, how is that even possible? Did you know in Marion County that if the contractor calls out the city inspector and after 48 hours they don't inspect the home, it gets yellow tagged and the contractor can continue work? It's something that they didn't know, and quite frankly, no one knew was a process. So this home was never inspected along the journey. The couple goes on to finding these devastating findings, trying to get the city involved. The city was not taking any responsibility, and they needed the city to help them out. The city finally slapped the 9 pages of violations. Was this home even habitable? It took 8 grueling months for this couple to get the builder to buy back the home, which is not a normal situation. So what was wrong? What happened? What led to all of this? Was the city liable? Was the builder liable? In Indiana, you have 1 year as a builder to come back and make that home right. Why? A heart surgeon doesn't get that kind of leeway. Why does a builder? How does the public know that they're safe? And by the way, that couple was my husband and I. I try not to get emotional because it is emotional, right? This is your home. This is your personal safe space. This is where you get to rest your head and lay your feet every night. It's where you put your family. And when you're told your home's not safe, I can't even tell you the feeling. I still get this pit because I feel like I'm a reasonably educated person that makes good decisions. But during the deception of the buying, building process, we just didn't know. And this is why I'm here to educate the public on why we have to have inspectors, and not just any inspector. You can't expect a $200, $300 inspector to come out and find these things. You need someone that's gonna dig in and understand what's really going on and understands Indiana code, or wherever you're located, their code, and how to work with the city, how to get the city to come out and do the inspections, because ultimately that's what keeps us safe. The toughest thing I have is when I learn another family has been impacted by this same builder. Just the other day, I got another call by another family, and it hurts. They have a young family as well. I don't even remember our daughter's first year. I just don't. I was too wrapped up in trying to figure out what the biggest single-handed investment that most of us make was a disaster. The story gets better though. We went on to build with a national builder, because building was such a fun process. They promised us the moon, they had great reviews, everybody said we would be fine. I'm here to tell you that the same darn thing happened. The home wasn't inspected by the city. No one was holding the builder and the subs accountable. We brought our inspector back in, and he was able to unveil the structural issues, the electrical issues, the potential carbon monoxide issues. But you know what happened next? The district manager for this national chain came in and said, "Hey guys, I don't think you should buy this home." Pardon? What's going on? We're now that buyer, and I want you to become that buyer too. Be educated, Understand the process. We're not talking about your tile work not being perfect or your trim pieces being messed up. We're talking about carbon monoxide potential. We're talking about fire hazards. We're talking about your roof not being attached properly, the trusses being damaged. Most people never climb up in that attic to even see. Take the time through the build process, hire an inspector, and keep your family safe. That inspection report could save your life.
Holy smokes, what a talk. Hey, as a guy that considers himself a professional in the construction business, holy smokes. I can't thank Erin enough for telling us her story. I certainly deal with building inspectors and have my work inspected all the time. And hey, I get it. I understand it. But what do you think? What have you had a similar experience? Put your comments below so that I can check them out and we can have a conversation about it. I certainly do everything in my power with what I do for my clients to make sure that they're happy, because it's really not about the check, it's about their satisfaction. And I always tell them the pictures of our incredible work is what always brings in our next 2 or 3 clients. So that's what I'm after. So that said, hey, you can mark your calendars for the second Wednesday of September. That's September 9th for our next installment of Sparks. We're going to take our temperature of what's going on with this to see whether or not we can do an event. Because we don't have Redemption Ale Works, we are on the lookout. We have a couple of locations. If you have a location in mind where we might be able to host a Sparks event, think about a small 25 to 35 person crowd that would appreciate our business. Please let me know. The theme is champions. You know, we've all seen, you know, when I think of champions, I think of the movie The Gladiator with Kurt. Nope, can't do it. Can't tell you his name right now. But Kurt Russell, thank you. No, Russell Crowe. Thank you. But we also think about when the Colts won the Super Bowl, how much we probably despise the Patriots together as a community, but they're nonetheless champions. Maybe there are champions in your marketplace that have just knocked it out of the park, and maybe you're that champion with your brand in your space. All kinds of stories can come off of this theme. If you want to check it out, it'll be September 9th. My poster is wrong. Hey, I'm a really busy guy this time of year, so we'll fix that and we'll get that up online correctly. But it'll be September 9th at about 6 p.m. online or live, depending on how we're allowed. Now, that's the theme in September. You can see the rest of the year. October is Fed Up. Dysfunction in November, just in time for the holiday season, and Naughty or Nice to finish off the year. These are our themes. Why am I telling you about our themes? Because you might watch this show and say, Chris, I've got a Sparks talk that I'd like to tell you about. Well, Sparks is just that. It's a platform for people that want to be public speakers. So when I put money up in the background, no, we do not pay you to speak at Sparks, but there is a value of about $1,500 placed on producing your video and putting it online through our system. You're going to have eyeballs watch your talk, either in person or online through the traffic that we get to our website. Do you realize that the human has an 8-second or less attention span, and we're actually less than a goldfish now? So with that said, if people can command the attention of an audience for 4 to 10 minutes, they're going to be able to command money in which to be able to do that. And I'm telling you, we have had over 250 talks in 8 years, and many of our best speakers have gone on to be national and international keynote speakers, making thousands of dollars for their speeches. So all you have to do is go to sparkstalk.com, sparks.com/speak. And this is the page that you'll see. There's a form, very simple form to fill out there. Tell us about which theme you think your talk aligns with. And even if it doesn't match up with the theme, tell us about your talk. Tell us about what you think the audience will get out of your talk so we can help you connect to our audience. Now, connection is what I'm all about. I have built a very large network of people through Sparks, through 8 years of Sparks and 4 years of doing another networking event. I am blessed to be known by a large number of people, but maybe I haven't connected with you yet. So find me on social media, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, at cdreed1231. 12/31 is my birthday, if you'd like to send me a card. But connect with me, send me a connection request, tell me how we met. I'd love to hear about it, and I'd love to connect with you. That's what we got. Thanks for coming out and watching Sparks tonight. Oh, sorry, that's a reflex action. Can't wait to be back in person. Thanks, guys, for watching, and make sure you put some comments below so I can check it out and understand what you walked away with tonight from Sparks. Have a great night.
Don't delay. Get your ticket for the next Sparks event today.